Hey everybody, Mo here, and today I'm bringing you 5 new decks and 5 decks to try out with the new Eternal expansion. I don't know why I call it Eternal expansion, but the newest mini expansion going into Eternal competitive mode. So a lot of people are going to be focusing more on competitive, and videos are going to have Eternal decks in them because Eternal is the competitive format for the next month. So because of that, it's going to be basically just Eternal content, and this is going to be the 5 best Eternal decks you could be playing after the patch starting today for Ranked Ladder, because Eternal Ranked finally comes out today. If you're getting ready for the Open and the Master Runeterra Open, the Big Riot Open, stuff like that later in the middle of next month, the middle of June, this is going to be the place to be because I'm going to have constant updates. Meta Mondays, Sweaty Thursdays, getting you ready for the weekend. Meta Mondays, getting you ready for the week, letting you know what decks to expect, what decks to play, what decks are doing well. And Eternal. So yeah, this could be the #1 place to be for competitive content. We're very consistent Monday through Friday videos and usually stream on the weekend, so I'm streaming tournaments or stream something else. So if you're into competitive Legends of Runeterra or you want to get into competitive Legends of Runeterra and you don't really know where to start, this is going to be the place for you. So make sure to subscribe, turn notifications on so you don't miss any type of videos that I put out, whether it's a deck guide on a specific deck, or just general tips to help you out in card games, become a stronger player in those. Whatever it may be, you're not going to want to miss it. So make sure to subscribe, comment down below, all that type of stuff for the YouTube algorithm. Let's get into the 5 best decks for Eternal Ranked Ladder. So to start things off, we are going to start off with Discard Aggro. So these are all going to be post-patch, post-nerf, or sorry, post-patch, so it's going to have buffs and nerfs included. So if I see some decks in here, some cards in here where you're like, wait, that card sucks, or like, oh, this card doesn't do what you think it does, it's because there's a patch coming, so that's why. So for instance, we're going to start off with Discard Aggro, because Draven is going to a 3-3 again. He's getting his 1 HP back. He's going to become a 3-3 once again, like beloved Draven used to be. This deck is still a little weak on the weaker side because it does have the 1-mana Poro Cannon, but outside of that, this deck doesn't feel too bad. The 1-mana Poro Cannon could be rough, and you might just not run Poro Cannon at all. I can definitely see you playing like Legion Grenadier instead and trying to be really aggressive in that sense. That could be something. I just like having the elusive game plan to go along with the Arena Battlecaster. Personally, that's what I like to do. But I could definitely see this not being where you want to be, and you can cut out Poro Cannons for Grenadiers, whatever feels better for you in the long run. But yeah, good old-fashioned discard aggro. We have Survival Skills back. We have Vision. We have Crowd Favorite back. We have Draven back. We have a buffed Draven back. So very excited to see how this goes. We even have the Poro Cannon. I don't think Poro Cannon isn't standard. Is there a way to check? Maybe I can right click on the card and it tells me. No, okay, I have no idea. But basically, yeah, we have this stuff back, which is really good. We get excited back, which is something that's really exciting, which is what the biggest thing that the current Jinx kind of discard aggro deck lacks is that it's lacking some sort of over the top. So basically, if you don't draw your Jinx, if you don't level your Jinx, stuff like that, get there, you're not going to be able to get there in standard. In Eternal, we don't have to worry about that because we do have this get excited. So we do have that over-the-top burn with things like Get Excited, and we have ways to keep our champions alive thanks to the survival skills. I will note that even though our Poro Cannon did get nerfed down here to 1 mana, we are playing with buffed Jinx. We didn't really get to play buffed Jinx in discard aggro back when we had, good Draven. We still had old Jinx, so this time Jinx, as soon as she levels up, you get the rocket. We didn't have that. When I won my seasonal with discard aggro, I was playing with a whole different Jinx. So super excited to see how that goes. I'm not sure if this is going to be the best aggro deck. I think Pirates is probably going to be a little bit better, but I'm definitely excited to play Draven. It could just be Draven PNZ, like maybe you're back on Draven Ezreal, Draven Tribeam. That sounds very good to me. I know Tribeam did get nerfed to 5 mana, so it'll be interesting to see if some sort of like PNZ Draven deck does come back. Next up, we're going to talk about is Gwyn Plaza. So, Plaza is a deck that got buffed. It was, when Grand Plaza first came out, it said when you summon an ally, give it +1/+1 in Challenger this round. Now it got nerfed to +1/+0, so it lost the HP. Because it was just too good. It was just straight up too good. And now they're reverting it. So it's getting the 1 HP back again. So it's basically going back to the same broken form it was about 2.5 years ago, being +1/+1. So this is one of the cards, one of the things people are super riled up about. So I actually have 2 Plaza decks here on the list. One is going to be with Gwyn, because I don't know if this is going to be the for sure final version, but I definitely have always liked Poppy Gwyn. Like Demacia Gwyn style deck, and I think with the Grand Plaza buff, that could be really good for your ephemerals, for your ghastly bands. One thing that Grand Plaza Curve was really good at in the Bilgewater version that was really put it over the top was you're able to go Grand Plaza on turn 3, and then as you would go like pass turn 1, pass turn 2, Grand Plaza on 3 into boom, 3-mana spell that summoned 2 units. We can still do that in this deck. We saw that very good curve of going pass on turn 1, pass on turn 2, Grand Plaza on turn 3, boom, strike up the band turn 3. There you go. So now you're getting 3/2 challenger units, which is going to be really hard for your opponent to deal with. And on top of, if you miss on Grand Plaza in this deck, don't worry about it. You have Opulent Foyer. If you draw both, I saw some people say like, oh, well, isn't it kind of awkward if you draw both landmarks? You don't have that much room. I mean, I don't know. Creating a 3/2 challenger unit every other turn sounds pretty good to me. So that makes me sound, I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. On top of that, it kind of just gives an extra, a little bit of oomph your units, because one of the reasons this deck kind of fell out of favor was P&Z became very heavy, P&Z became very popular, and it was hard to deal with because your deck is really heavy with 1 HP units because of your Ghastly Bands are all of 1 HP, and any P&Z deck that just has Caustic Rift just goes like, okay, Caustic Rift you just lost all of your pressure. And that made you really sad. Is now with also the buff to Withering Wail. For those of you that don't know, Withering Wail is getting buffed to 4 mana, so it's going to be cheaper. So any type of Shadow Isles control that could be playing Withering Wail could give you a hard time. Grand Plaza giving all of your units plus 1 HP is very, very good. So it makes it buff. It makes you get out of that range of dying to that Withering Wails, dying to that Caustic Gas. Of course, Caustic Rifts. Of course, if there ever is if that does get super popular, there's always Ranger's Resolve when you're in Demacia, so you can just destroy it that way also. But I really like this. On top of this, you might be wondering, oh, but Mo, Poppy sucks. Why are you playing Poppy? Poppy's getting buffed also. Poppy is also getting reverted back to her 3/3 form. So not quite when she was a 4/3 with Tough. She is going to be a 3/3 though, which is really good because, fun fact, everything in this deck has 3 HP. Poppy was already okay with the hollow triggers because you could just put her in front, she would get the attack buff from the hollow trigger, and then she would buff everything else. So that was already a thing that you could do previously. But now she just automatically has the 3/3, so if you don't have hollow triggers or you don't have anything crazy, you're still buffing your Gwen, you're still buffing your dancers, you're buffing anything else in play. But with Grand Plaza Poppy is insanely strong. This was not a combo we had before because Grand Plaza was already nerfed by the time Poppy came out. Is one of the weaknesses to Poppy is you attack and you say like, okay, I just hope my opponent doesn't have a 4 attack unit, or I hope my opponent doesn't have a unit that can block Poppy, essentially, like bluff plus buff spell. Well, with Grand Plaza, you can just go like turn 3 Plaza, turn 4 Poppy. It curves perfectly. And then Poppy is going to get even bigger. So she now needs 5 HP, or she's going to have 5 HP the turn she comes into play and attacks on turn 4. And she's going to have Challenger, so you can challenge and pull anything you really want to from your opponent. So if you're scared of a pump spell, you can pull lower. If your opponent doesn't have pump spells, you can just kill their biggest unit you're allowed to kill. And it makes Poppy just insanely strong. And this was not a combo we got to play with before. And it's something that I'm very, very excited to try out. So speaking of Grand Plaza, we are going to go ahead and we're going to skip Pirates for now. We're just going to look at the other Plaza deck, which is still Poppy. But I think this is the more mainstream Plaza deck. This is going to be the deck that more people are going to be trying, and this is Plaza Scouts. So this is actually the deck that got Plaza nerfed in the first place 2 years ago, which was basically you played Scouts, you played Plaza, your units were just kind of too big, and your opponent couldn't really deal with it. You would do the same curve of like, you could pass on turn 1, pass on turn 2, you would go Grand Plaza turn 3 into Double Trouble, boom, 2 like largest 1-drop units. You also have Misfortune. So you have a bunch of plays here on turn 3. Your turn 3 is going to be a powerhouse of turns. You get to play Ranger's Resolve to keep your units alive. We have Form Up. You can also play Sharpsight. The reason I'm opting for Form Up over Sharpsight in a lot of my decks, as you noticed, even in the Gwen deck I was playing Form Up, is because the +1 attack could really matter. Until elusives become popular or the meta is formed like more towards elusives, you don't really need this extra text from Sharpsight. You could always just add in blocking Badger Bear. You know, that's definitely a card you could add into a deck like this if you wanted to, overall Green Fang or something. But this deck, is very much built towards Grand Plaza and Misfortune in mind, along with Poppy. Poppy, Misfortune, Poppy Scouts was really, really good when Poppy first came out. Have your Relentless Pursuits in here for the rally so you can try and level up this Poppy quickly. But basically the idea is you have Grand Plaza and Grizzled Ranger used to be broken. You now have a 4/2 Challenger unit. So with Scout, so you would pull with Grizzled Ranger, you would play Grizzled Ranger on 4, you would attack, pull something, kill it, and then you summon a 4/5. And now your opponent's just like, you just killed 2 units for free with a simple unit, you know, and that's really good. You can play with Misfortune, and then because of with Plaza in play, Misfortune allows you to actually attack because you can challenge something smaller than Misfortune. Maybe your opponent has something with 1 HP, you can challenge Misfortune onto that unit, and the Misfortune trigger of dealing 1 damage. Love tap will kill the unit before your Misfortune actually dies, and that's really good. Grand Plaza gives you an option to play on attacks on evens or odds. Most of the time, if you're attacking on evens, that feels kind of bad, but you have Poppy now. So if you're attacking on evens, you can go, okay, I'm not attacking this turn anyways. Boom, Grand Plaza my opponent's turn, go to my turn, boom, slam Poppy, and you're just super happy. Like, I can understand this insane power play if you just go turn 3, like go pass on turn 1, pass on turn 2, turn 3, Grand Plaza your opponent's turn. It's goes to turn 4, your attack token. You go boom, slam Poppy, boom, double trouble, and you're just attacking with this gigantuous board on turn 4. That's going to be insanely hard to deal with. All with Challenger, by the way, so if your opponent does have any units, you get to pick perfectly. You can go, I have Green Fang Warden here with Barrier and Scout, so you get a free kill. It's going to be 3 power, it'll be a 3/3, so you can pull and kill things that way. Mariah Warden is really great because you summon multiple units. Island Navigator is very great because you can summon, again, multiple units. And then I put Steam in here. I'm not too sure if I want to keep Steam, but basically the idea is just it's a Scout unit that gives Vulnerable. It's kind of redundant because your units are going to have Challenger, but I think the idea was more if you're attacking on odds, I like the idea of being able to play Steam on turn 4, get a Husk, and then play your Poppy turn 5, and now your Poppy is buffed up by the Husk, and that's really good. Whether you give your Poppy like quick attack, give your Poppy elusive, give your Poppy tough. There's a lot of things you could do there to buff that Poppy up, and I really like that idea. And you know, I think if you're taking out a card, it could be like Green Fang. Maybe you go down to like 2 Grizzled Rangers if you really need buff spells. Like I said, we have the Rangers Resolve here for the anti-control. The Shell Shocker is fine because it's basically a 0 mana unit. So instead of going, like I said, the curves where you go pass turn 1, pass turn 2, Plaza Double Trouble or Misfortune Double Trouble, you can actually play Shell Shocker and still get that curve off because of the 1 mana attune. Durant Sculptor is nice in here. It's basically in case you don't have Grand Plaza. I'm going to definitely be putting out a video on this deck, so it'll get super in-depth more on that later. Right now, I'm just kind of trying to give you guys the overview on it. The next deck we're going to go over is Pirates. So, Pirates, Aggro was really, really good. The patch leading out of Eternal going into Standard. It was very, very, very good. So, not much is going to be changed, especially when it gets buffed by cards like Crimson Pigeon got buffed. Or, sorry, Crimson Pigeon came out. So, it's very exciting to have more additions to Aggro. This is my take on it right now. I'm on 2 Twist Fate, 1 Gangplank, because I do think we might want the Gangplank for the top end here. It'll be interesting. People were just on like triple Twisted Fate, 0 Gangplank, but I kind of like the 1 Gangplank giving you the top end here. I am on Make It Rains, even though I'm with the Zap Sprayfin. I think Make It Rain is just really strong. I think if other people are going to be playing Aggro also, Make It Rain will be really, really strong. It's definitely just going to be like an anti-meta type of card. On top of that, you have a bunch of 1-drops, and one thing you notice here is I'm not playing Saboteur. The reason I don't put Saboteur into my deck is really more of a meta call because I think Withering Whale is cheap, so a lot of control simps are going to be out there trying to play Go Hard, trying to play Withering Whale. The PNZ players are going to be trying playing Caustic Rift. So I actually just don't have any 1 HP units outside of the Spiderling here. See, this is a 2/2 minimum, 2/2 minimum, a 3/2, so like 2 HP, 2 HP, 2 HP, 2 HP, and then sure, it makes a little 1/1. 2 HP, 3 HP, 3 HP, you know, again, like more buff stuff. I literally do not play a 1 HP unit outside of the Spiderling summoned here. So all of the anti-aggro tools like the Withering Whales, the Caustic Rifts, stuff like that, the small pings, the Vile Feast is one that I think if people aren't playing Withering Whale, they're for sure going to be playing Vile Feast. That's a card coming back into the meta. This is how you would beat that. And you would still be kind of sad because before Crimson Pigeon, you still played, Saboteur, but because we have Pigeon now, we don't actually have to take this risk in playing a 1 HP unit, because it was really, really sad if you're like, oh, I'm going to open up triple 1-drop, and then if one of your 1-drops was a Saboteur or a Spider, the Fearsome Spider, Precious Pet, if one of your 1-drops was a Precious Pet or a Saboteur, you really lost out on a lot of pressure because they just simply Vile Feast the 1 HP unit, block another unit, and then they took like 2 damage, or they took 3 damage at most. And it wasn't that big of a deal. But now, because your units are getting all 2 HP, you're super happy if you have a triple 1-drop opener and they have Vile Feast. You're just like, sure, man, you can trade into exactly 1 unit, but you're still taking 6, and I still have 2 units in play instead of just having 1 unit in play. And you're only taking 2 damage. So I think something like this, you have the Fervors. Of course, you have Decimate deck. Decimate back, super excited for this. Love Decimate. And this is going to be your just standard aggro. I have Arachnoid Sentry. I think this card was super underplayed beforehand. It was kind of starting to gain popularity in Pirates. And I'm definitely here to bring it back. I think having a stun spell for later on is really, really good in the mid to late game. Allows you to connect with Misfortune more. Allows you to connect with maybe a Gangplank or a TF or something. I just think having a stun unit in an aggro deck is very, very good. And the last deck we're going to go over here is going to be Trundle Timelines. So this deck I'm super, super, super excited for. Concurrent Timelines, one of my favorite cards of all time that's not a champion. And for those of you that don't know, this card used to cost 1 mana. And then a lot of games were kind of just decided on the fact of did you have Timelines on 1 or not. And so they nerfed it to 2 mana to make it so you couldn't just immediately start getting value off of it on turn 2. Well, they're putting it back to 1 mana, which is something I'm super, super, super excited for. I loved Timelines. I loved Jack's Timelines. I loved Trundle Timelines. I brought Trundle Timelines to the World Championship qualifier. So I had a lot of faith in Trundle Timelines because I think the deck is just very good. And with Concurrent Timelines going back to 1 mana, I am, again, super, super excited. This is the deck I have built right now at the moment. Of course, this is not really super refined, but it has, Thermo Beam, another Eternal card that we haven't gotten in Standard, removal spells, some removal spells. I put 2 Piltover Telstones because I think Aftershock will be really good. Transmogulator is actually a card that's randomly really good in this deck because you'll be transforming it to just like really gigantuous units for no reason. With like Combat Cook and stuff like that. So that's something that's really random. And then also just Progress Day giving you draw spells. So that's why I like that there. I have 1 Telstones for Freljord, for the Frostbite most of the time, sometimes in Tune. Of course, the Concurrent Timelines. Pharaoh's Financer finds you some big spells, also a 2 mana unit now. So if you do get that Timelines on 1, you can play this on 2 and start popping off. You have all the improvised units you can play in these regions, I'm pretty sure. Improvise. I don't think it's very, I say there's only 2 improvised units here and you're playing both of them. Improvised units are very, very good with timelines, so that's nice. Aloof Traveler is very good with timelines, also an Eternal card that was very, very, very strong that I think people might forget about. Instead of playing a 4 mana 2/3, you get a 4 mana actual unit, except you still get the ability. Another card that was added that wasn't around when timelines was a thing is Augmented Clockling. So again, this is a very small unit. Of course, it has the elusive keyword, so it's very good. But now you get the predict and draw 1 card, reduce its cost by 1, while also just getting a really well-statted 4-drop. And also, this is a card draw that can be used to find the timeline. So you can play Clockling on 4, find your timelines, and now you just have a 0 mana timelines you can cast. And that's really good for you. Combat Cook, staple in any timelines deck because, just really big for. I cannot tell you the amount of times I've had gigantuous 4 drops that have like overwhelm for no reason. They have like +3/+1 overwhelm for some reason. They'll get fearsome for some reason, quick attack for some reason. These just keywords that they shouldn't have, and there's a reason they don't have them in the stats. Or a reason they don't have the keywords in the stats because it wouldn't be balanced. Well, you can give it to them anyways. We are playing a get off of here, stupid Combat Cook. We're playing 1 Harsh Winds for the freezes. We are on Triple Trundle. I'm on 2 Vi. I was on 0 Vi for a long time, and then I played Fan Club President. So if you think Fan Club President is better or not, that's really personal preference. I think having the Challenger from Vi is nice. I could definitely see just like playing some amount of Fan Club President. Not too sure. Formula's in here because for draw spells, really, really solid draw spell that lets you refill your mana. So 3 mana draw 2, very good. Before, I think we played Rummage for draw spells and like Time Trick. So really happy to have Formula. Revna is here. Revna's a beast. She's amazing. 6 mana, buff your entire deck. +2/+2, but you get an actual 6-drop, so you don't get that huge tempo loss. And that's basically what Timelines is really, really good at, is really stopping all the tempo loss from your big value units like the Aloof Travelers, Combat Cooks, Revnas. They give you these really insane play or summon effects, but the downside is that, the units are going to be a little bit smaller because the effect is really good. Well, now you just negate all the downside to it, and your deck is really, really strong. And of course, we have the It That Stares Buried in Ice Wombo Combo Happy Feet. For those of you that don't know, maybe you weren't around when this was really popular, Buried in Ice it's like a one-sided ruination. It puts all of your enemy units, all of your opponent's units, into this landmark that says in 2 turns summon me again. So you're thinking, oh, it's just like a mini stall, but it puts them all into a landmark, and then you can play It That Stares and obliterate all landmarks. So it's like a 2-card combo that's really nice. It's basically turns things into one-sided ruinations that you can do on turn 7. So you go like turn 7, Buried in Ice, turn 8, It That Stares, boom, you know, shuffle this into a really good 8-drop. There's some really, really, really good 8-drops in Eternal. There's like Dreadway, there's Fair, so it's basically just like engage Overwhelm, or you could give it let's see, like you can give it Overwhelm, you can give it Tough, and then have your whole Nexus have Tough. You can start spawning things all the time now. Mirror Mage is pretty funny. There's a lot of really good 8-drops that you can get from it. A Dreadway is like one of the best things you can get from it. So Tiana is like a big Tough unit, Challenger, all this type of stuff. Overwhelm, the units can't block. So yeah, these are the decks I'm most excited for. I think Timelines is the deck I'm most excited for, immediately followed by Plaza Scouts. But of course, you know, I love discards. So I'll be having gameplay out on these decks coming out this week. Basically gameplay every day, Monday through Friday. I will have sub on the weekends if I can. Mostly just guaranteed Monday through Friday, and then I'll try and stream or have some out throughout the weekend. So the deck codes to all these decks down in the description below. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, if you want to play any of these decks or you think they're exciting, make sure to smash the like button. Comment down below what decks you're trying in Eternal, so other people, if maybe they don't like any of these 5 decks or they want more, they go down in the comment section below, check out what you're playing, and then try that out, have a conversation with you, stuff like that. So again, this is the #1 place for competitive content for Legends of Runeterra. Gonna dive headfirst into Eternal for this upcoming month because it is the competitive patch. So if you guys are into competitive LOR or want to get into competitive LOR, this can be the place to do it. You're gonna want to subscribe, turn the bell on so you don't miss any type of notifications anytime I put out a deck guide or any type of video like that to help you out in your competitive journey. That's gonna be it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.